What's up, boopers? Today I wanted to talk to you all about leveling during a fresh server launch. Given that Light Hope announced the upcoming Silver Hand Blizz-like server on June 22nd, and to prepare you for the classic WoW on August 27th launch date. Rather than just telling you guys how to level on a server launch, what quests to skip, etc., I'm going to take the teach a man to fish approach instead. Not literally. Because a lot of things can change on a player-by-player experience basis. No one person is going to be dealing with the same bottlenecks, but first, let's start by talking about the word bottleneck, because you're about to hear me say it like 50,000 times. So what is a bottleneck? In terms of MMORPG leveling, it's a freaking bottleneck. Look, this is a bottleneck. Basically, lots of players funnel into one place where that location can only allow a few players at a time to pass through it at once, and all of the players get stopped and their progress is slowed until they can slip past it. If you can get to a bottleneck first and early, you can just slip on through like an ice cold, refreshing Coke Zero. But if you get there late, you'll be stuck in that bottleneck like a molded over cup you forgot you left on your desk behind your monitor for 3 months because you're filthy and you never clean your room. On a server's launch, the key to getting ahead of the Zerg is either getting through the bottlenecks early or bypassing them by any means necessary. So first we'll talk about identifying a bottleneck, and then we'll talk about how to bypass or avoid them. In Classic WoW in the early stages at lower levels, you are fairly limited in a starting zone in terms of what you can kill. You get more options the higher level you get, but at level 5 you can't really go around killing level 10s. As a result, the fastest ways to level are questing through the zone, and those quests are what form the bottlenecks. While some quests are easy to complete, some will have you stuck for literally hours if you try to do them within the Zerg, and that isn't an over-exaggeration. Imagine you're trying to go for World First level 60 and you get stuck trying to do a level 6 quest for 2 hours. You definitely don't want that. So a bottleneck quest is one that is very easy to get for all players and has a limited number of enemies available to complete the quest. Often that number of mob spawns can only sustain 1 to 5 people doing the quest at once, and that limit will be reached and quickly passed during a launch day. A quest that isn't a bottleneck is one that can be completed by many people at once, or a quest that chains out of several others and is more difficult to obtain. Now, if you watched my previous video, I talked a bit about dynamic and reactive respawns in the classic beta versus private servers. But basically, we learned that named mob quests and lootable object quests like the Cactus Apples, Hogger, Sarkoth, or Millie's Harvest all respawn very quickly. This has been confirmed with more testing. So basically, every lootable object quest and named mob quest you can mark down as not being bottlenecks. What truly becomes the bottlenecks are mainly loot drop based quests and easily accessible kill quests. For example, the very first quest for humans is to kill 10 kobold vermin, and there are roughly 30 vermins that spawn in Northshire Abbey. If you are able to tag 10 within a 5-man group before all 30 are dead, you have bypassed the bottleneck. But if you miss those 10, even slightly, those vermin will get wiped out faster than you can say, "I like to wear a kilt in the bathtub." And you'll get stuck in the bottleneck, and suddenly there are 50 players trying to kill 10 vermin with only 30 of them spawning. The 1 to 6 zones are in general bottlenecks by themselves, but it is possible to squeeze your way out of them if you focus on easily completed quests and just kill whatever the hell you can. And from there, you'll start trickling into the next bottleneck, such as the Fargo Deep Mine, and the same situation we described before will occur. If you can get to the Fargo Deep Mine early, it's easy pickings to get your quest done. But if you get there a bit late, you'll get stuck trying to do the quest for hours, and your dreams of Server First 60 will be gone in an instant. Now, sometimes quests are so rewarding that it is worth sucking on the bottle a bit to get through it. To identify what quests are worth fighting through, you need to consider 3 things. Number 1, how much experience does that quest give? For example, the Kobold Camp Cleanup, that one that has you kill 10 vermin at the start of the human starting area, only rewards 170 experience. That's the same as killing like 3 mobs. The Defias Brotherhood quest, on the other hand, in the same vein rewards 350 experience. worth almost 8 mobs. The Vermin quest experience is easily grinded out instead, but the Defias Brotherhood quest is much more effective in terms of XP per hour. Number 2, does this quest chain into more important quests? For example, again, Kobold Camp Cleanup does chain into 3 more quests, but they are also easily bottlenecked if you don't get them first because of the objective's locations, whereas the Defias Brotherhood quest unlocks 2 non-bottleneck quests that give tons of experience. It's easy to decide which you should skip and which you should prioritize from this fact alone. And number 3, does this quest reward anything significant? If it's a skill for a class quest or a big gear upgrade, in both of the cases I just mentioned in these examples, the answer is no. But as you decide how to bypass each bottleneck quest, make sure you take in consideration all 3 of these factors. Now we know how to identify the bottlenecks, let's talk about bypassing them. There are several methods to do it. Let's start with the worst method first because it somehow became something people actually believe is viable, even though it kinda started out as a meme on the hectic private server launches. Yes, I am talking about exploration leveling. Hello. There are several routes you can take through starting areas up to level 3 to 5 within 30 to 40 minutes of exploring. Exploration experience cannot be bottlenecked at all, so it's guaranteed regardless of the state of your leveling zone. It sounds like a safe bet on paper, so why did I just call it a meme? Well, you get 0 silver, 0 gear, 0 abilities learned, etc. So what do you think you'll be doing once you hit level 5? You'll be fighting level 5 to 6 monsters naked with only your level 1 abilities? By the time you get to that point, people will have grinded to level 3 and in groups already be effectively killing those mobs anyway. And this is only remotely viable on private server launches because they had upwards of 10,000 players on server launch days. Classic WoW won't have this because of the layering system, so it's not worth it. You should be able to grind your way out of the bottlenecks in reasonable amounts of time. And as we see here in the bottleneck picture, once you get past the first one, the next ones get easier to pass, and then the next one even easier, and so on. The second method to bypass bottlenecks is to run dungeons instead. Now it isn't really viable at the start because the first dungeons are at around level 12 to 15, and in addition, dungeons can slow you down a lot if you don't run them with a optimal or educated group. Luckily, we have learned that it's much easier to clear dungeons on Classic than private servers, so much so that one could argue it may be the best way to level. I will be covering 5-man leveling in an upcoming video though, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned. The third method is pretty simple, group up for the bottleneck quests. This only really works on kill-based quests or some loot-based quests. For example, Sita's Bag in Wetlands drops for all party members, as does the Orb for the Tower of Altalax quest in Ashenvale. So even though you lose experience by grouping up, you still get the quest done faster and can get past the bottleneck. And the fourth method is by far the best method to bypass a bottleneck, is to just grind on uncontested mobs. This is particularly effective in the starting zones where most of the quests equate to just killing 8 to 10 mobs. So instead of getting stuck in a bottleneck, just go and kill 8 random enemies and you'll get the same amount of experience that quest would have given you. Now obviously, as I mentioned, if the quests will chain into more quests or high value quest rewards, it's a tougher decision to decide to skip it. But trust me when I say that once you get stuck in a bottleneck area, you are pretty much boned. So you should start thinking ahead about what quests will be huge cockblocks for you and think realistically. If you take a peek at any guild recruitment website or Reddit or private server forums, you'll see everyone and their mom has taken launch week off for work, has claimed that they're going to be the world first rag kill, world first 60, etc. This isn't a new game that's launching. There are tons of veterans leveling with practiced routes. Don't think that the bottlenecks will be gone after level 10. Don't get in the mindset that you're gonna get your Whirlwind Axe first, because I guarantee you that the Elementals and Arathi will be a shit show at launch. And don't think that there won't be people cheesing their brains out to get ahead by having dedicated guild members mailing alchemy pots and other crafted gear to their speed leveling guildmates. It's gonna be rough the whole way up to level 60 if you plan on speed running. So instead, try to relax, and actually the best way to avoid bottlenecks is to just play a week after the game launches. No, just kidding. That's all I have to cover bottlenecks. Hopefully this helps you plan to deal with the launch day Zerg, and if you're looking for a chance to experience what it's going to be like on launch day on August 27th, check out the launch of the Silver Hand server on June 22nd. That'll probably be a rude wake-up call for all of you folks swearing that you'll be killing Rag week 1. That, or if you're a madman like me, it'll make you even more excited to fight through the Zerg. If you have any questions or tips yourself, be sure to leave a comment and like and subscribe for more upcoming MMORPG and classic WoW content. The YouTube algorithm nowadays really likes that stuff, so it really helps the channel grow. But until next time guys, I am booping out. Boop.